So friends, welcome our new video. What if Naruto was child of Power Girl and being friends with superheroes? Movie. She didn't know why, but everyone seems to avoid her. Usually, she likes it, but ever since she joined the league there is no one who talks to her as a friend. Everyone, literally, everyone talks to her whenever she's called upon, or if it's about her work. Even at Star Industries, the company she owned, her workers are somewhat intimidated by her. It's not like some rumors are going on about her drinking human blood, right? And she doesn't look bad, not to brag, but she's really good looking, right? She could understand how people would want Diana Prince than her. The woman is a goddess, literally, the gods bestowed gifts upon her. That's unfair. Besides, the men she had met, especially Barry Allen, can't even look at her eyes. She's used to that as well. But it still disturbs her how he could be so. She shouldn't think of this, it will only disturb her even more. Our girl, she nodded at Superman, world's most iconic superhero. Is there something wrong? As usual, the Kryptonian would ask anyone if they are okay, a thing she couldn't get used to ever since arriving here on Earth. She sighed. She is not the type of person who opens up, even though she is popular both in and out of her costume. She has been isolated in a way all this time, not going to her workers' parties, not hanging out with the other heroes, and never really experiencing having a neighbor. I am fine, Superman, just a little tired from work yesterday. No, she's not. But she just couldn't admit to Superman that she's irritated at how everyone is afraid of her. If you need to talk to someone, just give me a call, okay? Superman said. Maybe all Kryptonian male are like him, except General Zod. No, it's because he grew up with the Kents, that is why he is who he is. She mouthed thanks, then went to her quarters. One thing she loved about the Watchtower is the many rooms it has. Every senior member who has been with the league for at least a year or two gets their own room. Of course, even those fresh recruits get their own bunkers, but they had to share it with someone. She grabbed her phone. Thank you, Wayne Tech, for creating the world's fastest Wi-Fi, she thought. Are you awake? She texted him. She really needed to talk to him. She couldn't believe it either. Someone she met on some online site would be the outlet for all her problems. Obviously, she didn't give away her hero identity or her last name, and she's glad it stayed that way as well. Just woke up, what's the problem? She laughed. Can't I just text you? She replied, not really caring how he would take this. She'll never meet him anyway, even if there's a chance. Her phone began to ring. It's him. Oh yeah, as much as she didn't want anyone else knowing, they are way past that online site. They have each other's number. She never what did he registered her in his contact, but she said it already that her name is Karen. She answered. I said text, not call. She's pissed off. She never likes it when he calls, or when she is forced to call him. For some unknown reason, she always feels flabbergasted whenever she hears his voice. She liked the way when they both just send each other text messages. It is definitely a lot better than hearing his voice when she doesn't even know his face. Put the phone down. She yelled. Oh, he chuckled, but she could feel that she disheartened him. Oh okay, that disheartened chuckle again. She cringed upon hearing that. I'll text. Wait, the line ended before he could hear her. God, why did she have to be a bitch at him? He is the only person who listened to her, make her laugh, and cheers her up whenever she's down. Maybe that's the very same reason why she didn't want to hear his voice. The fear of his reaction when she knew who she is. No, there was something a lot worse than that. Men wanted her, she knew that much. But not because she's Karen Starr, it's because she's rich and the way they looked at her body, answered the second reason why. What if he is the same as them? No, it is better to leave a version of him in her mind. 5 months, she thought. Yeah, his jokes are lame and corny, but it's why she laughs at his joke. Even through text she could hear his voice in her mind, how he would tell his silly jokes. Then it occurred to her, hey, how's your day going? She couldn't remember the last time she asked how is he. Great, she's guilt-tripping herself even more. Power Girl, please go to the control room, Cyborg Victor said. She remembered seeing Clark and Victor argued one time, not really a big thing, but they argued about Superman, calling him Cyborg. She flew towards the control room, but her thoughts are still stuck with him. Yes? She asked, entering the room. Victor is there along with Wonder Woman and Arthur. She knew Victor couldn't look anywhere near her in respect, but that doesn't mean she couldn't hear him talking with Barry about her. They forget, she is the female Superman around her, besides Supergirl. Gotham City's finest are transporting a criminal, Poison Ivy, to another Alcatraz island, Hal said, opening up new screens showing men fully equipped with tactical gears are preparing for their job. However, Batman has requested a presence of a senior member there. It appears Poison Ivy was recently incarcerated by Batman because she killed a wealthy old man. Power Girl arched her eyebrow. Apparently, that man is a high-ranking member of the Court of Owls. Victor snickered at the name. Indeed, it was weird, but Gotham always housed the most bizarre criminals. Batman believes that the Court of Owls assassins, Talons, are going to exact their vengeance on Poison Ivy. Hal finished. So, protect Lady Plant. Wonder Woman nodded yes, it should be I who would have done this job, but Superman and Batman recently decided to have me along the peace talks in Alloy. It seems the two factions wants peace, but requires the presence of a strong and trustworthy third party, she said, standing up. Hal and Victor cannot go as well. Hal might be needed on a more crucial mission, and Victor is coordinating other League members where they are needed, she finished, reaching her hand out to her. She shook Wonder Woman's hand. Okay, I got it, it's her shift anyway, plus this might get him out of her thoughts. She's already stressed enough, perhaps a bit of workout might release that tension. Yes, if they are sending a senior member, then it is sure that a fight is inevitable. Be careful, Power Girl, the Court of Owls might not be known much to the public, but they are a crime organization that has existed since the colonial times. She didn't dare ask where they got that information. Batman is probably the one that got it, but that couldn't have been easy. She shook her head. She's just trying to think of anything but what she did a few minutes ago. She nodded, forcibly snapping her thoughts back to earth. Okay, I will be careful. She walked back to her room to change into her full costume. Even heroes forced themselves to look at her things whenever she's staying long at the tower. She's wearing a normal white shirt with jeans and Snickers. No one can get angry at her easily, except Diana. Plus, seeing Supergirl's envy gaze is entertaining. She never liked the Kryptonian anyway, they just don't get along for some reason, and she has no intention of finding out why. Okay, Hal, transport me to Gotham City. Line break. The way she said those words was utterly depressing. Hess not really the type of person who gets out and parties, heck, he don't even go out to the mall or something. Hess only out of the house when he has some stuffs to do, mostly food. What is wrong with calling her? They've sent each other text messages almost every single day, even when before she sleeps she would usually tell him about her day, how she is the boss, and how intimidated her co-workers are. He had given advice which he didn't know if she followed, mostly it was just about smiling and being friendly, and he doesn't think she's ugly. He doesn't understand why but just a feeling. He can't let her go, she is literally the only friend he ever had. If you are living the way he did until last year, then you won't want any attachments by any means necessary. He had quit that life, well, not exactly. Yes. Answering his ringing phone. No, it's not Karen, otherwise her name would have shown up. This caller had no number and isn't even registered on his phone. He knew who they are fully well. Gotham Spec Ops are waiting for you, remember, protect the package at all cost. She has valued information about the Court of Owls. We cannot let her fall in their hands. She will be your top priority on this mission. If only he could understand the Flying Thunder God technique, then there won't be a problem. Then again, he can't let anyone know he can teleport, should he learn it. Seeing the video of how people reacted with Superman, a man who can single-handedly destroy Earth, was enough for him to imagine a person that can teleport. This world is a dangerous place. There are so many scientists that it's not impossible for them to know how to use the Flying Thunder God. Visualize a country using that as a weapon. Transporting battalions of troops and tanks behind the enemy or worst, inside the enemy's borders. How many civilians would die? He shook his head. Even if he learned this technique, he will not use it recklessly. I'm on my way. To be honest, he is already there, but he still had to make sure the Spec Ops way is clear. The mission started when he arrived. As expected, the party is moving with 4 heavily armored trucks. Outside the holes are the tip of its heavy arsenals that are strong enough to rip even a tank. He sticks with the shadow, running above houses. Even his own company does not know how he follows, since they have no visual of him. He might look normal, but his physique is not. Training since he was little, his physique was better than anybody out there. Combine it with an insane amount of chakra, then he might be on par with a founding member of the Justice League, maybe. Hess already alone in this world. First there was his sensei, but now Hess off somewhere he did not even care to explain why, and that was 10 years ago, when he was still 11 years old. Now, he gave a damn, he wanted friends, and he got onto this website that lets you meet up with a random stranger. Hess met 1,000 strangers in just a few weeks, but he really doesn't know what to say when Hess meeting them. There's just a simple hi then his pushing the panic button. Luckily, there was someone out there as desperate as him, a woman who wants someone to listen to her, simply listen. He didn't ask too much of her life, and she liked it. That's when it all started, a mission to search for a friend and a listener. The sound of the explosion heaved him back to reality. He looked for the source and found that one of the 4 armored vehicles is down. Spec Ops now scattering to secure the area, which proved to be a crucial mistake as they were suddenly taken out one by one, daggers flying all around them as it precisely hit their marks. Let me go. Poison Ivy demanded, as soon her anger was filled with scream when a dagger speared through her legs. Fuck why you? She cursed, doing the finger as well. I'll kill all of you. She said, her teeth grinding against each other in anger. I guess that's his cue. Line break. Chess floating ahead of the escort, her mind still wondering how much of a bitch she can be. He did piss her off so she felt her actions were justified. She sighed, if she thought it was justified, then why does she feel awful? She used her vision to check the area, 4 trucks continuing their course, but there's another life form following them. She can't tell whether it is an enemy or not, but judging it how he moves in the shadow while following the trucks, says Hess an enemy. Shess about to dive when an explosion prevented her from her next action. What the? Good thing Shess high up in the sky, or whoever it is that's hiding there would hear her. This is Power Girl to Watchtower, did you see that? She said over the comm. Our girl, this is Victor. Can you confirm that Poison Ivy is still alive? Okay, so he didn't answer her question, but him telling her to check if Plant Lady is still alive means that he is indeed watching from the watchtower. She flew ahead, seeing the Spec Ops team going down like flies. The assassins immediately killed everyone, while some pulled Ivy out of the truck. She could see the man hiding in the shadows move, clearly planning something. One of the assassins run his dagger through Plant Lady's legs, and that was it for Karen. She crashed down in the middle of them, scaring even the most trained assassins. She laughed inwardly. This is going to be easy, she thought. Hand her over or else. She smirked. No matter how trained or skilled they might be, they are no match for her. We knew the Justice League is going to intervene. She turned around. Deathstroke, believed to be the best mercenary out there. I was hoping it was one of the bats, but we are prepared for a Kryptonian as well. She screamed, realizing a dart had successfully hit her arm. How can a dart even pierce her skin? Not unless, oh no. Bastard. She fell down, and for the first time it hurts. No, it's a lot different than being punched by Supergirl with her power on. She felt weak, unable to move even her limbs. I have never tasted Kryptonian before. Another one joined in. It took all her energy to move her head. She can't even contact the watchtower. Hopefully, Victor is still watching this. Maybe back might arrive. My payment? Deathstroke asked, not even caring about successfully bringing down a Kryptonian. This was just a mission to him, nothing more. Tripled, the newly arrived said, judging from his voice it is an old man. The old man is wearing a mask usually seen in opera plays and a white suit from top to bottom. Now, bring her to my chambers. Her hands started shaking. She never felt this helpless before. No, somebody will come for her, but who? Most of the people who do talk to her is away, not to mention they are the most powerful as well. Help. She can't even speak. Help me. Before the assassin even laid his hands on her, he fell down with a thud. She could see the body, her vision blurry, but it didn't fail her yet. She could see a dagger, weird looking, piercing on the head of the assassin. Black cloak, animal-styled porcelain mask, and those glowing red eyes. It's Deathstroke. Shess heard his voice before, not personally, but through the JL computers. Are you the one they call Akaimi? He asked. The last thing she heard was the sound of metal clashing against one another. This is it. She heard nothing, saw nothing, felt nothing, but her mind continues to work. Is this death? Shess heard about this on one of the books she read, Oblivion. Yes, that's what the author wrote, to feel nothing, hear nothing, see nothing, but knows you are somewhere deep, dark, and cold. Are you just going to leave me? It's Helena. It's been so long since she last heard from her, not after their huge fight, but just seeing her right there made her feel more alive than ever. She doesn't want to die yet. No, of course not. It's her best friend. Shess not going to leave her behind. Helena smiled. Good, then wake up. Are you okay? Another one of her illusions. But this voice, it sounds oh so familiar. Good, you're still alive. She didn't knew what she did, but his voice was untroubled upon seeing her alive, or at least that's what she thought. The sound of police siren managed to keep her awake. Who did he hurt her? She knew that voice, but she can't tell who it is. She felt his touch leave hers. No. Hang on, Power Girl. No, that's not the voice she wanted to hear. Thank you so much for the response, guys. I never thought my first chapter would be such a hit to you people. I am completely overwhelmed when I woke up only to find the reviews and number of favorites and follows. I will continue this story, of course, but this time I am more fired up than ever. For the people wondering, the Justice League in this fiction isn't as big as it is yet. Most of the members are the iconic male heroes, but the more dominant number are the females, because reason. Haha. I've seen the reviews, there are a lot of requests for the harem list, and I can already see this is a long story. For the other request, I'm still going to research everything about them in the new 52, and for those I already know, well see. The only reward I can give you guys now is this chapter. Enjoy. Chapter 2. Akaimi. She woke up a few minutes ago, alone in this white room with a single television turned on. Even though every inch of her body feels like it's been stung by 1,000 needles, she couldn't help but laugh at the show. The host of the segment was acting as Batman, and the other person was a villain. She shouldn't laugh, breathing alone is hard enough. The door opened up and she saw Kara. Hey, she said on a soft voice, telling her that she didn't came here to fight. Karen gave a single nod, and then her counterpart nodded. How are you feeling? Is this some weird dream? Shess never seen Kara worried about her well-being since the two of them met here on Earth. If this is a dream, then Shess just going to ride along with it. I am fine. I feel so weak though, it makes me feel. Vulnerable, she nodded, giving Kara a little smile. No, it didn't matter who visited her, but she felt more than happy that her counterpart, the one who disliked her most, is worried about her again. Maybe this is just the Krypton injected to her by the Court of Owls, and it's causing her weird hallucinations. It's because of Krypton, that's what Clark said. She nodded as a response to her sentence. Yeah, I've never been. Yeah, I have never been near a Krypton before, so I won't know the feeling. Clark said he didn't even know what you're feeling now, because even he has never experienced Krypton injected into his body. There's a small chuckle from the two of them. It warms her heart. Maybe this is just really a dream, but maybe she can finally understand why they disliked each other. Hey Kara, the younger Kryptonian looked at her. Why do we dislike each other? She'd probably wake up anytime soon, cutting off Kara's answer. Kara laughed softly honestly. She nodded, she can feel her dream going to be cut off. I don't know, after our fight we just didn't talk to each other. Wait, her counterpart is still talking. I guess I disliked you because they often compare me to you, more mature, level-headed, and that, Kara pointed at her bosom. Karen stared at her, eyes as wide as possible. Pinch me. Before she could say anything else, Kara had already pinched her. That's when she forgot that there was still some kryptonite left inside her body. She screamed in pain as her counterpart mouthed sorry, then they both started laughing. It's okay, I did tell you to pinch me, they both laughed. The door burst open. What happened? Flash said, almost yelling at the two. He quickly ran towards them with extreme caution. They did mention Power Girl is super sensitive to other things, so, Barry gulped. How you doing? Before Karen could react, Kara stood up. Why do you have to be such a jerk right now? She could feel Kara's hands are shaking, not from anger, but from preventing herself to a burst of laughter. After all, she could clearly see the vibrating lips of her counterpart, inches away from laughing. Whoa. I didn't mean to be. Kara stopped him. Look, if you were going to be a pervert, why not do it on Wonder Woman? She did liked how you would always try and flirt with him. She finally gets it. She's trying to prank Barry. It's fine with her. She could finally feel a revenge of sort from all the lewd looks he gave her. Barry arched an eyebrow. Really? Kara coughed, regaining her composure. Well, between you and me, she had always found it cute. There's a hint of red shades from Barry's face, almost the same color as his suit. Well, Diana secretly told me that she'd love if someone slapped her bottom. Barry gulped. Now, Karen is the one trying to hold her laugh. Well, you know us girls, we like to get a little naughty, she whispered. Karen didn't know that her counterpart knew the arts of seduction, because she clearly doesn't know anything about it. Barry's skin was as red as his suit. Oh yeah, thanks. And Hess gone in an instant. Naughty? Karen asked, as the two started laughing. Her phone began to buzz. Can you? Kara is already handing her phone to her. Thanks, she said. What is wrong with her? She's always calm and reserved, but the smallest amount of interaction with Kara is hard. No messages? What? Kara asked. She smiled sadly. It's nothing, just a guy I met. She slapped herself mentally. Why did she open that up? Oh. Do tell. Line break. Once Power Girl has enough strength we will call her to our meeting. We need her to be there, Batman said, explaining things to Diana, since the Amazon princess has been quite defensive about having Power Girl back up on her feet right now. The Dark Knight sighed. We are not going to push her, I just want some questions answered, he said. He didn't like it whenever Diana puts both of her hands on her hips. Fine, just 5 minutes. Since when did Wonder Woman ever cared about Power Girl? Batman thought. Well, maybe it's because Power Girl is the first to ever come close to dying ever since Darkseid's alien invasion 5 years ago. And keep Barry away from me. She growled. What a surprise, Barry managed to piss another girl. Once every member of the League had gathered they started talking about the Court of Owls. Batman forced not to groan. Can't they see the real danger here? They are all waiting for Power Girl and Supergirl to arrive, since Supergirl is the last one to visit Karen. Her thoughts wandered through Karen Starr, owner of Starr Industries. She's definitely a beauty, no one would doubt that, but they are scared of her. Unlike Supergirl, they knew she grew up on Earth, not to mention that she's still young. Karen's case was a lot like Superman's, but with two matured people from Krypton now living on the same planet, the tension just became higher. Superman had already proved himself to be a champion of this world. Karen hasn't. Now, every pent-up frustrations on Superman or Supergirl is redirected at Power Girl. It's really bad. Not only does Power Girl have the exact same power as Clark does, but can Clark or Kara even do the thing that needs to be done, should it come to that? Killing another one of his kind when there's only 3 of them left. No, Clark will side with his family and he, the Batman, won't have any countermeasures against 3 Kryptonians. Hess not a team player, but he sure hopes Clark, Karen, and Kara would finally find that person he too has been looking for so long, but the Dark Knight can never love, not while there are enemies. Superman and his kind, however, can protect their loved ones, but they are the most dangerous should they lost it. Two women entered the room. Karen is on a wheelchair pushed by Kara. Something's not right, these two never got along no matter what they do. He narrowed his eyes delicately. They were talking like they've been friends for so long that it hurts Bruce's head a little. Did somebody put a never mind? The two sat together as Batman cleared his throat to gather all of their attention. Barry, what's wrong? He took notice of the Flash cowering behind Superman, who is as clueless as Bruce. His voice was stuttering. No hing did me miss that tea on nothing. He glanced at Kara and Karen who are laughing so hard it already answered his question. Added up with Diana's glare full of fury on the Flash, he knew what the two girls had done. Barry, my friend, what is wrong? You have always shown confidence at times like this. Arthur said, forcing the man with a lightning bolt insignia on his chest to stand up. Bruce sighed. Arthur had mistaken confidence and showing off. Yeah, Barry, show me that confidence, Diana said, her voice filled with venom that a single touch on your skin will kill you, and soon, it might not be figurative anymore, show it, he'll cut it off. Barry tried to toss down whatever it is inside his mouth, only to end up choking on it. Everyone laughed save for Diana Woe's eyes never left Barry and Clark who still doesn't get why everyone is laughing. Batman sighed. Why not go to the infirmary and have your face checked out, Clark said, and he giving Clark a confused look. There's nothing wrong with Barry. I can see that bruise you're hiding under that mask. At this point, Kara is rolling on the floor laughing, and Karen giving everything she's got just to stop laughing. Oh okay, stop, it's hard to breath Karen managed to say, but only ended up laughing some more, with Kara, seriously. Everyone's energy moments ago died down. Batman breathed deeply, starting this meeting, and the danger that they could possibly face. You might already know why I've gathered each and every one of you, they nodded. Barry, who chose not to go to the infirmary, raised his hand. Batman signaled Flash to speak. Yeah, it's because of the Court of Owls who attacked Power Girl, right? Batman exhaled deeply. He has no time for this. It's because of the Krypton the Court of Owls pauses, Diana interjected. Again Bruce shook his head. What is the answer then? She asked. This man, the screen on the back opened up, showing a figure covered by a hooded cloak. He could see Karen's eyes becoming serious. Remember anything, Karen? She shook her head, saying that after she got hit by Krypton, she barely remembered anything. Well, he eliminated every single one of the Court of Owls that night. That's not what I'm afraid of. Everyone shared a confused look. This is. The video showed up with Deathstroke cuffed to the chair. What the? Instead of fighting back or being calm and reserved, the once known assassin is currently in Arkham Asylum. This is live. The Aquaman stood up. Neptune, help us, what happened to him? He asked. Even in Atlantis the name Deathstroke is known. Sure, he might not be as fearful as most people think, but he is a tactical genius who adapts in the battlefield and is able to take down most of his targets, super or not. Deathstroke holds the title of world's greatest mercenary yet here he is, Batman growled. This is probably worse than killing a person. As the video continues to play, Slade Joseph Wilson was acting insane, screaming stop yelling words about how painful it is. The slightest touch of the nurse taking care of him sent him into a flurry of screams. What happened? Karen asked. I thought you could answer that, Batman said, truly hoping a slight clue is at hand. Line break. She tried to remember everything she could, Akaimi. She burst out, causing jolts of pain through her entire body. Kara gently guided her back to her seat. That's what they called him, I'm not sure, but that's what ringing in my head, she said. What exactly happened? She asked again. I think it's better if we show you, Batman said. This is a video recorded by a bystander. Line break. The video started with her full attention on it. She wants to know her mysterious savior as well, despite what he did to Slade. No, he actually don't care about that guy anymore, even though he is a criminal. He didn't stop the old man who has the clearest intention of raping her. Black cloak, animal-styled porcelain mask, and those glowing red eyes, Deathstroke said. Full of confidence unlike the video she saw earlier. Are you the one they call Akaimi? He asked. He didn't respond, his head pointed at her. Let me take Power Girl and Poison Ivy out of here. It didn't seem like a demand, not for her. Let me bring them to a hospital where they can receive medical attention. It's hard looking at her lifeless body on the ground. Do not let him take her. The old man shouted, I will multiply my current pay if you give her to me. Her mouth began to quiver. She didn't knew this happened, and how close was she to becoming a slave, and to see it from someone else's eyes made it harder for her. Don't worry, Victor already took care of the video on YouTube. That's the only copy left on the world. Why do Kara's words comfort her? They simply shared a bit of stories and the laughter from the prank they did on Barry. She smiled at her counterpart. Slaves. The masked man chuckled. Do you think he'll allow that? Deathstroke and the old man followed with their eyes the trail of body falling down all around them. I will protect her even if it kills me, he said, his voice filled with commitment to his word. I don't back down from my word. The others are just as engrossed as she did. She noticed he mouthed something. But she couldn't figure out what he said next. Easter charged with blinding speed, swinging his sword. "I never expected an opponent like you," he scoffed. "This is what makes it fun," he said. The masked man drew out his sword as well. It was a simple and elegant katana that was on his back. Deathstroke tried spearing his sword, but Hess faster than Deathstroke. It's clear who has the advantage on sword battles, but Deathstroke had technology set up almost everywhere. The battle continued, and both men showed great agility and finesse. It's like they are fighting for the world's best swordsmanship, but again, it is clear that the masked figure had the upper hand should Deathstroke run out of tech. The camera shifted from the two fighters to the old man Woe's hands is about to touch parts that's never been touched by any man. She looked around the room, she could see hatred in their eyes, especially Clark. The masked man glanced at the aged man. Deathstroke laughed, piercing his sword on the masked man. "No." She screamed unintentionally. "Arg." The body of the once masked man turned into pure electricity, forcing Slade to his knees. The aged man who has yet to be named was distracted by Slade's yell of pain. "What the?" A hand grabbed the old man by his hair, and the other removed the mask. Thurston Moody, the masked man pushed his head towards the dirt, as the older fellow is now the one screaming for help. The Talons are all dead, Slade is stunned, and there is no one else to help him. "No." As the kunai slowly slices his neck into two. "Ask for forgiveness while you're still alive," was all the masked man said, leaving Thurston Moody crawling for his life. He tried shouting, but all that came out was a gurgling sound and his very own blood. Barry, Hal, and Victor already had enough. The three are close to gagging whatever it is that they ate for lunch, but for her no, she's not gagging. She doesn't know what else she's feeling right now, but she is sure she's thankful. He slowly walked towards Slade who could now move a few limbs, Hess on his knees, tired, his arms wiggling from the strong windy night. "Nice trick," Slade commented. "Now that is something I truly did not expect," he added. "What are you going to do now?" "You sold her," he calmly pointed to her, her body is still lifeless on the ground. "So? Easy money." She felt a pang of anger from his comment. The masked figure nodded, understanding his enemy's way of life. "Then I'm sorry for what I'm about to do," he said. Slade merely laughed. "I'm not afraid of death, kid. No, that's why I won't kill you." After that Slade merely drops to the ground, motionless. The masked man made a dash towards her. He lifted her head so it lied down on his legs. "Are you okay?" His hand softly caressed her face. She could see her head twitch a bit. "Good, you're still alive," he exhaled. The tension moments ago was killed as he calmed down. The sirens were nearing. That seems familiar to her. She could see herself mouth something as he slowly released his hands on her. He pulled out a small bag or a pouch like thingy that can be attached on any part of your body. He tilted his head, studying her face. "Take care." He left his pouch under her head, acting as a pillow for the ground is hard. "That wasn't a dream." She's definitely sure that last part of the video was a dream, just a fleeting dream. She smiled. That blissful feeling wasn't short-lived. He is true. "What was that?" She shook her head, smiling at her counterpart. "He just sounds like someone I know, it's just an excuse." "Wait." The past 3 days have been hectic for the Justice League. Victor is the greatest ally they have when it comes to computer stuffs. She admits it that even Star Industries need someone like him. She's already a billionaire, but nowhere near Bruce Wayne. Yeah, she's not in it for the money, but she can buy anything she wants, so that's a perk. Plus, being an orphan herself, she understands the difficulty of being one. At least she has superpowers to help herself, unlike those children who are more unfortunate. Victor groaned. "There's nothing about this guy," he yelled, grabbing the attention of those who are near him. Batman and Superman was beside Victor all the time, but she occasionally shows up every few hours. Clark stroked his chin. "Nothing at all, Victor?" he asked, watching every window that pops up on that large screen. She again marveled at Wayne's technological advancement, not to mention that he is super rich as well. Victor's arm was connected to the computer like a power cord. He has been one with the computer trying to find the man who saved him. She can understand Hess a threat or something to them, but not for her. She felt respect and admiration for the guy, yet Batman managed to convince everyone he is a problem, or might be. The Clark back home was a little different than here. But she learned at first hand how different these two dimensions were. Well, both of the Clark she knew were polite and gentle to many things. The one back home shines brightly than the one in here. Then again, the Clark back home was already 40 plus. What about the mercenary contracts? That's been the most tiring thing they've done, at least that's what Kara said. She is still in bed rest from all that kryptonite injected into her body. The infection is declining, but the rate is so sluggish, there has got to be something, right? She could feel Batman's nerve about being in the dark. She kind of understood where Batman is right now. For a person who's always in the dark, looking for advantage and all sorts of information, it is annoying not to find just a single clue about this man. Well, it's more frustrating since he has been given the title of world's greatest detective. She chuckled, causing Batman to glare at her. Did he just read her mind? No, that's impossible, right? Karen thought. Everyone in the league is helping in search for this mysterious man, but they still have to do their duties to the world, which was even more tiring, not to mention she too is tired from all the sitting and resting she's doing, added up by that jerk who hasn't even texted her since she got mad at him. Yeah, that was a bitchy move, but not calling her texting. Wait, did she think she wanted him to call her? Yeah, no. Well, she does want to hear his voice, it's bugging her ever since she was rescued by that man, because that voice was just too familiar. Hey, I'm really sorry about what happened these last few days, I never meant to yell at you, I just had a bad day is all, she messaged him. There are a lot of reasons why he won't reply, but she only feared one. You're not still mad at me, are you? The words she used were different, but it all had the same meaning. Somebody knocked on her door, it's definitely not Kara, she's patrolling her city and is on duty for tonight, so, who could be at her door at she looked at her clock 1 in the morning. Come in, she said. Diana. How are you doing, Karen, she asked, though that question has been answered for 100th time. Everyone in the league, even though they are small, have visited her, and they all ask the same question each time they visit. She's fed up hearing and answering that same question. Diana smiled. No, you're okay now, just a little more rest to be sure, okay. She nodded. Well, that was a first. I don't mean to be rude, Wonder Woman, but why are you here? It's 1 in the morning, she said. The company is always welcome to her, though it is a sudden change of ambience. She liked talking to someone, rather than staring at the television for hours. The shows right now suck, but at least one network is showing one of her favorite movies. She softly laughed, sitting on the chair beside Karen. I'm just checking how you're doing. She checked her phone, it has been 30 minutes since she last sent him a message, though something clicked, the name registered on his phone isn't his name, who in their right mind would name their son Kyuubi? She shook her head, it must be foreign, she thought, or maybe he just gave her a random name. Line break. How are you faring with this world, Diana? She's taken aback, not many questions how she's doing here on Earth. For years she has trained in the arts of war, but never really knew what the outside world looks like. They've heard stories, but she was never allowed to step towards man's world back then. They told her men were like poison, corrupting everything in their path, but that wasn't true. She inhaled deeply. I still have a lot to learn on this world, that's the truth. When she arrived here 5 years ago she was naive, and everything else was both excitement and danger. She had been mostly curious at her friend Steve Trevor. He was a soldier then, now his job is to ensure the Congress could still trust the Justice League. She hates it when she sees him tired from his work. But he keeps saying the same excuse, it has to be done, especially about love. She was fascinated with Steve a few years ago, mainly because he is the first man she ever met. When he confessed his feelings for her, she did not know what to do back then. Eventually, she told him the truth, she has no feelings for him, only friendship. Karen chuckled. Diana could see that she misses her home, but unlike her, she could return to Themyscira anytime she wants. Love, huh, Karen said, her voice shaking for a little bit. What about you, Diana, have you found someone to be with? Karen asked, she did not expect that question. I don't know, she replied honestly. Sure, she is still a woman deep down, but through meditation and sparring, lets out all of her pent-up stress. Of course, that includes her curious womanhood. I liked a few men, but none of them are someone who I want to be with. True, she found Steve to be attractive, that guy from Mission Impossible film, the model she found on her magazine. And even a teammate of their own. I read books about romance, and it makes us see how exciting it could be, but it's a double-edged sword. Karen nodded. They both understood the reality of love. What about you? Karen choked for a moment. I've had my shares of love back home. Diana nodded, pressing Power Girl for more information. She's curious, but she can't ask any of the men in their team, and asking Steve would definitely worsen their current relationship as friends. Besides, Karen doesn't seem like the girl who would have no experience when it comes to love, but she could feel that she's still unsullied. I've never been hurt the way they show on TV, but even those normal breakups hurts a lot, she finished, her eyes widened for a moment. Diana didn't like what's coming next. What about you? You've been here long like me, is there any man who got your attention? I mean a guy who makes your heart skips. Yes, she just had to clarify it even more. She cleared her throat, she can't lie, it's not that she can't, she just won't, that would go against what she and her lasso stands for. There is someone and it's very recent. Karen gave a wide smile, and she can't help herself but return it. She have never found sharing things as private as this to be fun. Then again, years ago it's mostly the male population who has dominated the league. Well? Aren't you going to tell me? She could see the excitement in Karen's eyes. No, Karen wasn't the only one excited about it, just spilling her own secret to a teammate felt so thrilling. Is it Clark? She won't blame Karen for thinking that, the media alone speculates about her and Superman's relationship, but she could feel nothing but respect only for him. Remember when I told you I read a lot of books? She nodded, of course she will, that was just a few minutes ago, no offense, but I don't like Kal-El. Karen tilted her head. Again, every woman out there would do almost anything just to be carried into the sky by Superman. Yes, Clark is attractive, smart, kind, caring, compassionate, and so many more, but for Diana he was way too perfect. He shines too much, she added, it's like a cliched movie where she is the princess she literally is, and Clark is her knight in shining armor who would defeat the evil wizard or dragon and save her from her prison tower. Karen laughed. So, you like going to the dark side, huh? Is it Batman? Bruce Wayne was by far on the same level as Clark when it comes to physical attraction, however, Bruce was more charming than Clark is. She gave a small laugh. No, it's not Bruce, Karen. Now Karen was truly thinking deeply, but her blonde friend should never go for Aquaman. That man was already married once to Mara, now Hess about to marry some else. That would be simply wrong if Karen thought of it that way. Can't I have a clue? Diana gave a mischievous smile on her face. This guy whom she have came to respect in these past few days is a mystery, a total mystery, and every single time she thinks about him, it makes her feel excited. Does she love him? No, but she definitely has feelings for him that surpasses attraction. The fact that this has never happened before made her heart skip. It's exciting, and every hair in her body would rise up whenever they talk about what clue they have from him, and the fact that even the Batman can't get a single clue on him makes her feel more excited. Now, the only thing she wants more is for her to single-handedly capture his identity. Of course, this was her deep dark secret, and no one must know about this strange behavior of hers. Hess wearing a mask, was all Diana said. What? That's not a clue. There are so many men in the world that's a hero and wears a mask. That's not a clue, Diana, Karen complained like a child who knew Kryptonian women could act like this. It's fun. Wait a minute, Diana almost swallowed the stagnant air in her throat. It's okay to tell me if you don't go that way, she said. Huh? What? Okay, things took to a turn she did not understand. What is that way? Karen smirked. You know, not liking the opposite, only the same. Karen wiggled her eyebrows up and down. Oh. No. I don't go that way. Karen burst out from laughter as she felt her face heating up, finally realizing what Karen meant. In Themyscira we usually wore nothing. I am used to seeing naked bodies, but I am not attracted to my own gender. Whoa. Slow down, princess, you don't have to make it weird, you know. She smirked. Everyone is comfortable when she talks about Themyscira. So, when can you go out? She asked. She has to spend time with her. Karen is fun to be with, rather than those well-suited people inside the embassy or some other lavish parties and occasions. Doctor, Leslie will give me one final checkup and I'm good to go. Line break. What if they come back for me? Those assassins are crafty. If he didn't looked at her that evening she would have been a goner. The poison they used has a very rare antidote, but they were easy to find, at least for him. He didn't know why, but he felt that if he handed Drive Pamela back to the authorities, then she wouldn't have survived the night. They are going to be pissed that he has actually kidnapped a criminal, not to mention Chess, the world's most notorious eco-terrorist. Yes, they will, even if he sends her to Alcatraz Island as planned. Chess not going to live there for long, not without her plants, even at this very moment Chess shaking, without her beloved plants. She is as vulnerable as a woman walking in the dark streets of Gotham. Don't worry, I will protect you, so get some rest. No way is he going to let her see his face, but being inside this small abandoned building is kind of hot. He let his hood go. There are so many blonde people in this world that she won't know who's who. Where are you going? He hates to leave an eye on her, but with the temperature going high, since Hess wearing a full-size cloak, preventing anyone to touch his skin, he needs some fresh clean air. Don't leave me. Do not worry, I have sentries all over the place. By sentries, he meant his shadow clones that are hiding in every part of the building. It'll be back. Hess going to buy some normal clothes for the two of them. She tried to follow him. Seeing a criminal with a reputation like hers go down like this, he just feels sorry for her. I promise you, no harm will come to you while I'm alive, okay? She nodded, tears were in her eyes. What could she have done to attract such a dangerous organization, he thought. Once outside, Hess started to walk to the nearest clothes shop. If they are still open, well, it's not that late and he could use a meal, maybe ramen or something. Either way, his stomach is going to accept whatever he eats. I wonder what she eats. The thought didn't came until now. What could a girl like Pamela be eating? Plants. Does that make him a cannibal or a vegetarian? It's confusing, but it should be fun seeing her eat. He almost forgot, Hess still wearing his full armor, not to mention his hair is flowing out. Crap. He muttered, quickly covering it with his hood. Great, I only have $50 to spend on both food and clothing. He could go back home, but that's going to take a lot of time. Pamela might go insane if she stayed alone in that abandoned building for a long time. He broke his own rules because Hess too distracted by what Karen said to him. What the? The storeowner yelled, seeing clothes of her missing, but with money attached to their hanger. Choosing not to delay any longer, he bought, the same way he did in the clothes store, 2 rice box from that Chinese stand. He wanted some ramen, something hot because the wind outside is freezing, but whenever he's alone with Ivy he felt pretty heated. He still has to check on that wound, the poison has been extinguished, but the wound is still fresh. Do you think I've forgotten what you did to me? A female voice cried. He instantly alarmed himself. Somebody is up there with the doctor, and she was able to defeat his clones. It doesn't matter if you are the Batman or not, his clones are top fighters and cannot be killed easily. Thinking that the female up there might have some kind of powers, he prepared himself. He knew the place, he had stayed here for a day now. He sneaked behind the woman and readied himself for his knockout blow. Unfortunately, the woman was able to spin around and launched a kick. He ducked, grabbing a kunai to go for her vital limbs. Yes, rendering her immobile is the best course of action. The woman raised her targeted leg and pulled a retractable baton. "You're not bad," the blonde woman smirked. If anything, she seemed harmless, especially with her outfit. She looked like a model or something, her outfit hugging her body too much. He shook his head. This is not a good moment to think about that. So far this woman is better than Slade at close quarter combat. They both disarmed themselves, now continuing this with their fist. Line break. She had to admit that this guy is really good, each movement are not wasted, but she is starting to have a hard time deflecting and attacking. But the man in front of her seems like he's just testing her. "You're not bad," she commented, even words are weapons as well. One wrong move from him and she'll take full advantage of it. He managed to disarm her, and she was just about to unleash the true color of his electric baton. TCH, she didn't like where this is going, but if worse comes to worse she'll use her canary cry. "Leave," he said, maintaining his pace of attack. "So, he's still a youngling, huh?" she thought. His voice wasn't deep like Superman's or any other heroes out there. His was definitely of a man, only younger. Oh, she knew how to predict their age when she hears their voices. "I can't, she owns me something," she replied, smiling as she's starting to sweat. "This is turning into a great match." "She is wounded, she will pay later," he said. She rolled her eyes. He is trying to change his voice into someone else's. He should stick with his voice. It's cute. An idea forms in her head. Hey, stop trying to change your voice. She let it sink in with him for a moment and then she saw her chance. She locked her body with his and whispered, "Yours is cute." Aha. He showed an opening and in an instant she took advantage of it, landing a solid blow on his stomach. He growled in pain. He looked above and she gave him a smug look. Yep, this guy is definitely a sniff. What's that smell? She looked around, her body turning hot and hotter. Her skin is now soaking from the sweat caused by her skin-tight black outfit. She panted. What the fuck is going on? She thought. Her eyes focused on him, still trying to recover from that kick she gave to him. Oh, she shouldn't have done that. She approached him, slowly, unzipping her skin-tight black suit. She tried shaking her head. This is wrong, yet it feels so right. Hess shaking his head. Poor guy, I want to help him, she thought, slowly kneeling to beyond his current height. He stopped moving, even though he is wearing that mask. She could see his eyes resembling sapphires, just like hers only deeper. She leisurely removes his mask. She bit her lip, hoping he wouldn't jerk. She needed to see his face, even a glimpse of it. She didn't know why. But she doesn't care anymore. "Wait," he said, softly panting. His true voice is somewhat muffled by the mask. She didn't need to hear this. She inserted her index finger inside his mouth. Warm, just like she wanted it. She played with his tongue for a moment as he sucks the blood out of her finger. Once she removed it, it made a slurping sound that made her even hotter. "But we want to, right?" He nodded, slowly looking back at her again. Body is beautiful, spiky blonde hair, eyes matching the colors of the sky, and that innocent look on his face showed that he was still untouched. Perfect, the night is young, and she could teach him so many techniques, and he sure doesn't look like one who would get tired so easily. Anyone who is on par with her doesn't run out of energy easily. Yes, perfect is the word she's looking for. He was perfect for her, and he for her. Yes, Shess doesn't know what's going on, but she doesn't care about a single thing anymore, just the man in front of her. "I haven't done it yet," he whispered, and her smile only grew wider and naughty. He was Indian sitting, and she plans to take all the benefit she can get. She wrapped her arms around his neck, her legs around his waist, and her lips inches from his. She could smell his breath. Every time his breath hit her raw skin she wanted him even more. She could feel something beneath her scorching, and Shess not sure if it's her or his. "Don't worry, it'll take care of you." "She definitely will." Ina Lance is pissed, really pissed. She woke up a few minutes ago, but the only thing that welcomed her glorious morning is a masked man that's just about to jump off the window. He said sorry to her, but without seeing his facial expression, she couldn't portray if he was truly sorry or not. Sure, his voice sounded genuine. But she had met a lot of men who could sway girls into believing they are truly sorry. She almost got married once, but it's a good thing he cheated before they even got to the altar. Of course, the man was beaten up badly from a mysterious heroine whom she would never tell anyone, but the heroine didn't beat him up because he deserved it. Okay. Maybe a little, but because there was a lot of anger inside of her that she couldn't control, her body ached, her head throbbing, and she's so cold from sleeping on the floor, God, that must have been the dirtiest sex I've ever experienced, she thought. She could barely remember his face, blonde hair, blue eyes, and a smile that so captivating. "He'll kill you soon, Ivy," she muttered. Truly pissed about what has happened recently. Watchtower, this is Dinah, I need a transport. Her outfit ripped to shreds, and the only thing left for her to use is the man's black cloak. She covered her entire body and waited for Victor to answer. "Victor, this is Dinah, transport me to the watchtower." She heard a grumbling sound that was followed by a large hard swallow. "Sorry, Dinah, I was eating breakfast." She rolled her eyes as she could still hear him drinking. Probably some huge gulp he bought at 7 to 11. Why is her start of the day being this bad? She sighed, finally feeling the light around her as the transportation takes place. Chess immediately transported into the lobby, where other heroes use their free time to relax. Everybody has their shift, but it's not always danger in Earth, so most of them are just hanging out here if they are free. Communicating other heroes is the best way to get known after all, because the Justice League is indeed a team, the seniors don't force anyone to team up with another. But some cases are an exception, especially if it's a real life and death situation. She quickly made her way to her own quarters, but she couldn't deny the feeling of other heroes glancing at her, whether it's curiosity or some lecherous eyes some heroes gave. She just wants a shower. Along the way, she saw Zatanna, Karen, Kara, and Diana. She still laughed at the thought that she and Princess got along well, since she's from that island full of women she didn't know much about Earth culture, especially when she teases someone, particularly Zatanna. Sure, Z joins in the fun. But Diana's nature is so serious that she won't laugh or even think of it as a joke unless you tell her to. At least she likes ice cream, so that's a start for the two of them. "Hey, Dinah, want to grab some lunch with us?" Kara asked. She bit her lip, only a few feet away from her door. Wait, did she say lunch? She looked at the clock and it is 2 minutes before 12. What's wrong? Kara asked. The others looked at her with interest as well. It's not every day that they see her in this situation. After all, she mouthed shower, but seeing Z smirk she knew she has already lost this battle. Z roamed her eyes all over her, from top to bottom. She was like a computer scanning for a virus. "So, judging from your outfit, you're naked underneath that cloak, huh?" The other two gasped, but Diana merely shrugged. "It's everyday naked day in Themyscira, and Princess here is not afraid to get weird with everyone." She did learn to follow Earth cultures, most of them by now. But she still has that growing attitude here. "Who did you do last night?" Dinah and Zatanna rarely had men to sleep with, mostly because they are jerks, and the male population of the league are either taken or jerks as well. They knew Superman is dating a normal human, but it wasn't sure who that person is. It is unclear, but they heard it was his co-worker Lois Lane. The Batman isn't so bad. Who doesn't like bad boys anyway? But seeing Bruce Wayne with how many ladies in just one evening is just like dating the jerks they didn't choose, not to mention that creepy glare of his. It's like he is seeing through your very soul. She shook her head. "Tell us, Dinah, we at least would like to hear if it's a real romance this time." Diana perked up upon hearing this. Didn't she and Batman had some rumors going on? She scoffed. "With a body and face like that you don't need any attitude. Some women have it easy. She is literally blessed by the gods, unlike the rest of them who needs to work hard at the gym just to get in shape because that pizza was just too powerful of a temptation." Sure, Diana works harder than them, especially when they are sparring. But it's just unfair. "I didn't know who he was," she angrily said, not really wanting to talk about all of this right now. She felt confused, but she didn't know why she should be. She shook her head. She needs to get a nice hot shower to relax. "Excuse me, I just need a hot shower and eat my breakfast before Z or any of her friends corrected her lunch." She walked past them. She could feel Z smirking. Sometimes even her best friends can be so irritating, but it is the reason why she also loved them so much. Still, the way they irritate her outweighs the way they make her smile. Great, she chuckled at her own thought. See, her friends, even if they're not around, is there to make her smile. She got to her quarters and immediately locked her door. As soon as she was out from anyone's sight, she removed the cloak that still contained his smell. He smells really good even under that black cloak, she knew. She's smelling it right now. One long lungful inhale, as she lets it soak in and linger in her nose for a minute before she released it. "What's happening to me?" The thing below her, the one whom that guy had just penetrated all night long, started to quiver. She didn't exactly remember when they've started or what happened before they did, but she remembered every detail of that glorious thing they did. Glorious. She snorted. Why is she even thinking of him? These thoughts are only a distraction for her, but maybe she could delay that forgetting part because her very core wants to be infiltrated by her delicate fingers. She stopped, panting as she looked at the clock. She's been doing it for hours, but she's not yet sated by her thirst. There is no one who could probably do what he did to her, but even if she wanted a random man, she knew her desire would only repeal itself before they would even start. Fuck. She yelled, not before she drowned herself in her pillows. First, she chased after him, not to befriend him or anything like that, now she's seeking him again, and she can't have it checked out by any doctor in the league, maybe she could do it privately, away from the eyes and ears of the league. She's embarrassed that not only did Ivy manage to outsmart her, but she also seduced her and made some guy fucked her brains out, that bitch. She growled, but remembered one part of the night where she unmasked him. Again, she couldn't remember his name or his face, but she clearly remembers his facial reaction. And how innocent did he look, she yelled again. How can she remember that innocent look on his eyes, but not remember his face? This is stupid, she thought. Maybe he should be the one mad at her. She's the one who took his purity after all. Maybe, is he a virgin? She asked herself, but quickly countered her own question, because he sure moves like Hess, more experienced than Catwoman, she said. Nice, now she's talking to herself, she's going nuts. I mean, I really like the way her fingers thrusts deeper into her very core, she moaned, but the ecstasy she's feeling right now is nowhere near last night, no. This must be Ivy's doing, I must find her fast. Yes, she needed a cure from this sickness. The shower took faster than she expected, she was just too tired to even let the relaxing water run through her sore body. As she rested in her bed, completely forgetting that she was hungry, she remembered little by little of the details last night, but she has no idea where did Ivy went after. Shit. We've been fucking till 4 in the morning. Yes, the watch she was wearing that night, she was so caught up with Ivy being in her city, which she forgot to remove some accessories she was wearing, fragments of Ivy, and her sharing one man suddenly in her imagination, but she couldn't remember her, Ivy, and that guy kissing together at the same time. Was that even possible, or am I really going crazy right now? She mentally slapped herself not to think any further of this, she needs to rest, really bad. Beg, canary, beg. Ivy seductively said, her fingers trailing just an inch below her nipple. In front of her is the man who she can't forget about, the man who is so good with indecent things, but has the face of an angel when he smiles, the man who fucked her brains out so bad that she cannot forget about that single night. Yes, him in front of her, Hess just standing there. Looking at her like she's a meat waiting to be eaten, but she does want to be eaten, but she also wants to eat him too. Poison ivy circled her hands running through every corner of her body. Do you wish to taste him so badly? She nodded, she knew Ivy doesn't deserve to see her beg, but it was for her own selfish need. I know you, she said, walking over to the man as she started licking his earlobe. A fine specimen, is he not? She nodded, but she didn't want Ivy's green hands on him, she wants him all for herself. Unfortunately, he is now my slave, and it is only I will feel my brains fucked out by him. She teased, running her hands up and down his shaft. Well, I am merciful, so you get to watch us fuck each other till we drop. She wanted to scream, but nothing came of her voice. She wanted to move, but her plants are there to restrict her. She didn't want to look, but she couldn't close her own eyes for some reason. No, she wanted to see at least the face of some being in that feeling. Bitch. Ivy set him down, her mouth swallowing him whole. The sounds she's making were enough to make her womanhood moist. She bit her lip as she continued to watch her touch him, not leaving an area unmarked. She should be the one marking him, not some freak when it comes to plants. She laughed as she began to ride him, Ivy's eyes locked with hers as she continued to hump him. She was provoking her, she's torturing her, but she's not going to fall for that. Ivy frowned, stopping in her trail. Well, looks like someone is no longer entertained, huh? The man nodded. I guess we're done here, slave, let's leave Miss Canary alone, shall we? He nodded again. In the blink of an eye they were gone, leaving her in her own dark room of thoughts. No. She gasped, she's sweating fiercely as she tried to take as much air as possible. Hey, Dinah, are you alright? A worried voice snapped her back to reality. She quickly dressed up, she didn't even know she undid all of her clothes. She opened the door and she could see 3 women standing there. Diana was worried, but a calm face continued to rule her. Karen was the same as Diana, though she's ready to destroy her door, and Kara was already on the moment of punching the door. Thanks.